Hi, good afternoon. We are really thankful for your permission to call. Let me first introduce ourselves. I am John Patrick Rizal, and my partner here is Ken Vince Requentina. We are both students from the Polytechnic University of Taguig, studying under the course Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. So, this interview aims to know the reason behind your consumption of K-drama as guided by two theories. So, meron kaming dalawang theory. So, the first theory is the cultural proximity theory. Ang sinasabi lang nito is the cultural offerings in a media content must appeal to a person for him to like that content. So, hindi lang, pag nanonood ka ng K-drama, hindi lang yung story ang nagugustuhan mo, pati yung kultura ng Korea. Okay? So, next theory is uses and gratification theory, meaning it emphasizes that you as an audience is active. So, it means you are consciously picking what media to consume based on your needs. So the interview will be composed of open-ended questions. You are free to answer to your heart's content as long as you're telling the truth. Also, lastly, in return for your participation, we promise to upheld confidentiality. Everything you say in this research will be kept confidential and will not be used for purposes outside of the studies. So, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Um, okay, let's call on my partner to start the interview proper.
Hello, Myra.
Hello.
Hello. So, for the first part of our interview, we would like to inquire about your background first, about your knowledge about K-drama. So, my first question is, what influenced you to watch K-drama?
Um, maybe the influence that affect me to watch K drama is first thing is the boredom. Boredom because I am always alone in our house where there is no television, and the source of my boredom is really I'm always alone and I don't know what to do. So I think if watching K drama will make me ayun mawala yung boredom ko. Ayun, yun talaga yung ano, that's the main reason why I watch K drama.
Okay,
Ayun.
thank you for the answer. The second question is, how long have you been watching K-drama?
I have started watching K drama since I was in grade 12. So grade 12 lang talaga ako nagsimula. So ayun. So grade 12, yes. As far as I remember, it's grade 12.
And the last question is, do you still watch K-drama these days?
Yes, even before this interview, I watch K drama and then I stop it in 1 p.m. because this is the schedule. So I still watch K drama.
Okay, thank you. For the second part, we would like to inquire about more about culture prospects. So there are four categories, and the first categories will be asked by my partner Patrick.
Okay, thank you for that. So for this part, we will be tackling about linguistic, no? We'll just ask you the first question. What do you think about the Korean language?
Um, Korean language is mahirap. Mahirap
Yeah.
aralin, and then if you will if you will really look into it, and then kapag nanonood ka ng K-drama tapos marinig mo yung mga salita nila, mahihirapan ka talaga intindihin kapag hindi mo alam. So,
Okay.
ayun.
How about the way Koreans speak? What do you think about the way Koreans speak? Their accent, their tone when they speak. What do you think about those?
Na, pardon, I didn't quite hear you.
Okay. What do you think about the Koreans' way of speaking? Their tone, the way they speak, the softness in their voice. What do you think about those?
Um, mostly kasi the words of Koreans are partly similar. For example, that they just vary in tone. For example, is the phrase "Did you eat?" I or did you drink? Drink coffee, but the sentence for that is only coffee masal tayo. That is the sentence of drink. Let's drink coffee, but the intonation will turn it into interrogative sentence like coffee masal kayo, and that's just I have noticed that the intonation just vary, but the sentence is just the same.
Okay, thanks for that. Do you think there's any similarities with the Korean language and the Filipino language?
Um, no, I can't think of anything
That's
similarity.
all right. Yeah, that's all right. Okay, last question. Do you have any clue about the history on how the Korean language was formed?
Yes, it was started during Kim Sejong. I think Kim Sejong during dynasty era, during Joseon dynasty era, because during his era, he gathered us up a scholar, and then during that time, there is no really Hangul that they just borrow um, alphabet from Chinese. So when it is Kim Sejong era, he gathered all of the scholars in Joseon, and then they tried to create the Hangul, and that's it. That's far
Okay,
as I
sorry.
remember.
This is the last question. This is the last question. Do you think there is any similarity with Do you think there is similarity with how the Korean language was formed and how the Filipino language was formed?
Hindi ko narinig. I didn't hear you clearly. Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, that's right.
Okay, I'll repeat the question. Do you think there is similarity with how the Korean language was formed and how the Filipino language was formed?
And I think as far as I remember in the Filipino, it is just our hiram na salita, like pinagdugtong-dugtong dun sa sa mga pumupunta dito, like yung sa sa Chavacano, the Spanish era, parang hiram lang na salita yung mga words, tapos yung iba parang nabubuo na lang siya within time kung ano yung matatawag doon. But I think in Korea hindi sila ganun. Parang naglagay talaga sila ng words para dito sa thing na to. Kunwari ito salamin. Ito. Salamin talaga dyan.
Okay, thank you for that. Let us now move on to my partner.
Thank you for that, Patrick. So the second category is visual, meaning the beauty of South Korea itself. So for the first question, about what do you think about South Korea?
South Korea is magulo. Magulong country. Just like nung una ko pala napapanood yung Korean drama, sobrang manghang-mangha ako sa mga nakikita ko. Sobrang na-amaze ako sa mga napapanood ko, like minsan pinapangarap ko na pumunta doon, tapos doon mag-aral. But after that time, syempre sobrang curious ko sa Korea. And then I have watched the history of it, and then where does the people go? Kasi nakikita lang natin yung mga good sides ng Korea. Tapos hindi natin nakikita yung mga bad sides. So I tried to search it, and then there's really a bad side kung saan may nakikita ako. Kagaya lang din sa atin, may mga beggars sa street din na pagala-gala lang. Tapos may isa silang tao na kapag hindi mo nakayanan yung buhay mo, parang doon ka lang ilalagay. So, ayun. Ayun. Magulo
Okay,
talaga
thank
yung
you for that. Thank you for that answer. My second question is, if you have if you have a chance to live in South Korea, would you accept it?
Yes, I will.
And why?
Um, yes, maybe I will accept it because ever since I've started to watch K-drama and link into it, that one of my dreams that I want to achieve. And even now, I am planning to teach there and live the rest of my life. Even if it is, I know that it's magulong country. So ayun. It's still in my dream that I really want to go there.
Okay, let's talk about the actresses. Of course, the actresses and actors have importance about K-drama, especially their face, their the difference between Koreans and Filipinos. What do you think about it?
The difference between Korean K-drama actors and between K-drama actors and Filipino actors. Is that it?
Yes.
Uh, are you
When it
talking
comes
about
to visuals po, when it comes to
visual?
visuals, the face value of the Koreans and the face value of the Filipinos, yung itsura nila.
I think it is more fine in the actors in South Korea and the actresses are more in fine faces with smooth faces because as we all know that Korea is really sobrang ano talaga nila sa face nila sobrang ano nga tawag doon? Sobrang wait lang. Basta sobrang sensitive nila sa skin nila and then sobrang anong tawag doon? Basta parang iniisip nila na kapag mataba sila, kailangan na nilang magpapayat kasi parang
Conscious.
sobrang conscious nila sa sarili nila. Kaya kahit ano-anong ginagamit nila na mask pumupunta sa mga dermatologist. Tapos kasi sa kanila kapag pangit ka, parang ibubuli ka talaga. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, kahit ano, ire-respect ka talaga. So, ayun lang yung pinagkaiba nila. So, mas fine yung mga faces and visual ng actor and actresses sa Korea kaysa dito. Tapos, plus pa yung ano natin, yung weather, mas nakakatulong din yun sa ano, sa visual nila. Kung saan malamig tapos ayun lang, hindi masyadong haggard. Ayun.
Thank you for that answer. So the next category will be handled by my partner Patrick.
Oh, before that, may additional question lang, isa lang po. Do you think, can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Do you think there is any similarity with the geographical features of South Korea and the Philippines? When I say geographical features, I mean the land formations, the building structures. Do you think there's similarity with that?
Are you talking about the uh, inside the city or
As a whole, sir, you decide.
as a whole?
Kung anong alam mo doon na lugar, sa mga alam mong lugar.
Anong alam na lugar?
So okay, let me repeat the question. Do you think there's any similarities with the geographical features of South Korea and Philippines? I am talking about land formations, yung building structures, yung mga building nila, may pagkakapareho ba sa Pilipinas, yung mga bakasyonan, mga lugar, mga baryo, mga ganun. Lahat ng klase ng geographical features.
I think sa mga I have been watching documentary. I think for example, the marketplace and the marketplace of Korea and the marketplace of the Philippines is just like the same. Ayun, the same lang naman. Tapos parang kung bibili ka, tapos parang wala ring pansinan kasi hindi mo rin sila kilala. Tapos pagbili, uwi. Tapos ang pinakaiba lang minsan is sa building structure is mas advanced yung Korea kung saan may mga iba't iba sila talaga na machine. Yung parang machine, yung vending machine kahit saan mo makikita. Ayun. Tapos dito sa Pilipinas wala.
Okay, thank you for that. So, moving on to the next question. What do you think about Korea's culture? I'm talking about their food, their clothes, and their customs.
Their culture, they have their own culture na they have their own culture just like us. They love spicy food, and then the food that they have is really different from us. And then they follow dress code just like in how it is acceptable in the society. Just like for example, here in the Philippines, the dress that we used to wear here is not acceptable in Korea, and just like the same with them. The ayun. Basta yung yung mga may mga damit tayo dito na hindi pag sinuot mo yan sa Korea, hindi yan acceptable para sa kanila. Parang hindi tanggap sa culture nila. Ayun.
Okay, last question for this. Do you think you can live or adapt with Korea's culture?
Yes, I think I can, because I have been watching, just like what I told you, I have been watching South Korean documentary, and I think I can do that. And sometimes I even practice it at home due to the love of Korean drama and watching it. Yes, I think
Okay,
I can.
thank you. Let's go back to Sir Kian.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. So let's go to values. So my first question is, what is your first impression about Koreans' attitude or behavior?
My first impression, even
Yes.
without watching K-drama, my first impression talaga is
Yes.
they are masama sila. They are they ano nga tawag doon? They discriminate other people who are not, for example, black people, and for example the Philippines, and the people in the Philippines, they discriminate it because of our color, because they have their own standard. Parang doon na sila nabubuhay sa standard nila, kaya kapag mas bumaba dun sa standard nila, parang hindi ka na nila tatanggapin. Just like for example sa mga napapanood ko na sa school themed Korean drama is parang sobrang prone sila sa bullying, kasi yung isang tao hindi na meet yung expectation ng society na tanggap sa kanila. Ayun.
Thank you for that answer. My second question is, what do you think about the Koreans' style of showing respect?
Showing of respect is, in terms of physical, it is the bow, like the bow. Every time they see each other, they bow to each other as a sign of respect. And then the second one is the using of honorifics in their dialect. For example, as here the po and opo, it is a sign of respect. And then in Korea, they also have their own honorifics, which is yo and seo. Anyong haseo, ayon. It is showing respect, and it is used to speak in their sunbay, or the higher level to them, or yung mas matanda sa kanila. The use of honorifics and the bowing. I think it is.
Okay, thank you for that. So last question, about the Koreans and Filipino values, do you think there are similarities about them?
Values.
Yes, values.
What specific values? Just like attitude?
Now values, as I mean yung the values itself, hindi lang sa attitude. Kasi attitude, different people, different attitudes. So you can't judge a one person based on their attitude of a country. So about the values of Korea, what do you think about the similarities about the values of Korea and values of Philippines?
Their values. I don't think I have know this because I didn't really watch it because if we were going to focus on watching K-drama, we all know that Korean drama is just scripted and we can't really tell the values of it. So in terms of watching the documentary, I haven't watched the Korean values really itself, and I can't explain it how it is similar to us.
Okay, thank you for that answer. Let's go back to Patrick.
Okay, we are finished with one theory. We are now moving on to the next part of the interview. So, for the information part, this is the first question. Does watching K-drama contribute to your knowledge about South Korea?
Watching K-drama, yes. It really helped me to contribute like knowledge about South Korea because the norms and for example how they live and then how they ride the bus and they have need this card to beep it and then the the station and how to deal with other people. It is really shown in K-drama. That's why it really helps me to it Korean drama really helps me to contribute knowledge about South Korea.
Okay, next question. Do you think watching K-drama benefits your intellect?
Yes, I think it is because I have been watching K-drama with subtitle, English subtitle, and I think helped me to it helps me in my reading comprehension, just like watching K-drama at the same time reading the English subtitle. And it is. And
Okay,
um,
last sorry.
and additionally is there are sometimes theory and additional info about Korean drama, just like facts about life that being applied to Korean drama that can be seen by the viewers. Ayun.
Okay, last question. Ito bang mga bagong natututunan mo? Does this new knowledge you get from K-drama contribute to why you love K-drama?
Yes. Does this ulit. Can you
Hello,
repeat
sir.
the question? Can you
Hello.
repeat the question? Can you repeat the
Medyo
question?
medyo
Can you,
naghang, sir. Medyo naghang. Hello.
ayan ha?
Can
Ayan.
you raise your hand? Can you raise your hand?
Can you, can,
Okay. Hello. Oh, ayan. Okay, sir. Nakikita na kita, sir. Naririnig mo ako, sir?
can you repeat the
Okay.
question?
Okay, I will repeat the question. The question is, does new knowledge na nakukuha mo mula sa K-drama contribute kung bakit mahal mo yung K-drama?
Yes. It contributes me because there are some scenes that actually watching Korean drama help me sometimes to escape in reality. For example, I am imagining myself that I am the leading lady in that drama, and then the new things that I have learned from it is really helps me to really help me to really helped me why I love K-drama. That's why after finishing the 16 episodes of it, I'm still trying to find another drama that I want to watch.
Thank you. Let's go back to Sir Kian.
Okay, thank you for that. So for the second category, regarding about sa personal identity mo. So first question, how do you think K-drama affects your identity?
Affects my identity. I'm still a Filipino, but yes, I'm still a Filipino. It doesn't affect who I am. I think it really doesn't. But I love Korea. I love South Korean and watching K-drama, but it still doesn't affect me of being who I am. It's still me.
Okay, thank you for that answer. About naman sa personality. Ito yung parang mas malalim. Personality mo. How K-drama affects your personality?
My personality is I become introvert than extrovert. Ano ba yung introvert? Di ba yung introvert yung ano, parang hindi ka
Ay,
na nakikinig mag-usap.
pero I think mukhang mas naging extrovert ka pa lalo.
Hindi. When in times kasi na I'm not watching K-drama, I'm not into K-drama. I'm a fan of basketball and you can see me in the court playing basketball every week. I always watch the Liga and also I am always in the Araneta and then the MOA Arena. I always go there every week just to watch K-drama and then I always chat people who really love basketball. So that's why. But as I become hooked into K-drama, I prefer to stay home and then watch all day and then sometimes I really don't parang di talaga ako lumalabas kahit isang araw kakanood lang ng K-drama. And then the only thing that kapag nasa school ako, ayun lang yung mga wala na akong kaibigan sa labas ng school. Ayun lang talaga sa school kasi sa bahay, puro lang talaga ako kay drama. Tapos kapag sa school na, yun lang yung mga friends ko talaga. And even now, kahit 8 years na ako dito sa Manila, yung mga kaibigan ko talaga is, sa school lang talaga. I become introvert than extrovert. Kasi mas pinipili ko ng manood ng K-drama kaysa gumala. Ayun.
So thank you for that answer. I like to go deeper. So regarding naman to sa mga actors, ito yung mga di ba merong hardcore fan, yung mga iniistan niya talaga. Ano yung ano yung epekto nun about sa inyong pagkatao? Kasi kung sobra, alam ko may ganun eh. Pag merong sobrang pag merong sobrang hardcore fan talaga, parang nagiging siya, nagiging mas gusto niya maging Korean kaysa maging Filipino, like ganun. So, how do you feel about that?
Sa yung iba nakikita ko sa sa mga Facebook, lalo na yung fan ng isang group. Yung fan ng isang wait lang. Kasi makikita mo din sa mga may mga kaibigan din ako na ganun. Parang part na sila doon na sobrang diehard fan na talaga nila. Tapos parang mas pinipili na lang nila maging parang self-proclaim na gusto nila maging Korean. But in my case, I still, I'm still a Filipino, but I just love Korea and then I just love watching K-drama. And besides, as I am watching K-drama, there was a time that the study, our online class, and then the process is the task that we need to do is about our national language. So it made me realize that we still need to even you love another culture, but we still need parang mas pag butihan pa natin, yung parang mas dapat may alam tayo sa culture natin kaysa sa ibang culture. So ayun, mas lamang pa rin yung pagiging Filipino ko and then pagmamahal ko sa Pilipinas kaysa sa sa South Korea. I just love the way their works and then the yun nga, yung watching K-drama. But I'm still a Filipino and I really love Philippines.
Okay, thank you
Ayun.
for that answer. Let's go back to Patrick now.
Thank you, Sir Kian. Third category. So, first question. Do you think K-drama, what is the good and bad effects of K-drama with your relationship in your family?
Ha? I'm sorry I didn't hear you.
Hello, naglalag po ba uli ako, sir?
Oo.
Let me just change the network, sir. Bilisan ko lang. Hello. Wait, I'm sorry. Okay na? Okay na? Mas okay?
Opo. Okay.
Okay, ito na. Continue sa question. What are the good and bad effects of K-drama in your relationship with your family?
I think there's no disadvantage and advantage.
Good and bad effects lang po. Yeah, ganun din. Good and bad effects.
Bad effects. I think there is really no bad effects of my relation to my family because ever since I start watching K-drama, I'm always alone in the house the and I am free and I am mas hawak ko yung oras ko tapos parang sila aalis ng umaga and then babalik ng gabi tapos tutulog. So parang wala talaga siyang epekto. So ako kasi dito lang sa bahay tapos manonood lang ako ng K-drama. Tapos parang sila aalis tapos babalik. Tapos parang wala din naman, parang ganun pa rin. So ayun, wala din naman talagang epekto.
How about good and bad effect when it comes to your relationship with your friends?
With my friends, ayun lang, may mga talaga, so, minsan we are, yayaan kami minsan gumala, tapos, minsan kinoconsider ko pa yung kung gaano kaganda yung K-drama na pinapanood ko sa pupuntahan namin, so, sometimes I choose to watching K-drama than to go out with them. But sometimes I go out with them than watching K-drama. So ayun lang talaga.
Okay, last question. Meron ka bang special group? Meron ka bang peer group? A group of friends na nabuo ng dahil sa K-drama?
Yes. I have. It's an online friend. So minsan nagvi-video call kami tapos nag-uusap kami doon ng mga thoughts namin about sa bagong K-drama, yung bagong pupuntahan ng tapos kung sino yung pupunta dito na Korean drama actor. Ayun, may nabuong friendship doon. But it's just internet friends, but it's really...
It's about entertainment. So simple question, does K-drama entertain you?
Does K-drama entertain me?
Yes.
Yes, it really entertained me. Just like what I said you before, it really the main reason why I watch it is the boredom itself, and then as I continue and then continue, I used to love it. I used to love the story, and then yes, it really entertained me.
Yan, okay. So, for the last question, it's about the genre. So, I would like to ask you about the genre. If the genre really captivates you, like example, comedy, it makes you laugh. Romance, it makes you kilig, parang ganon. Ganon ba yung nangyayari pag nanonood ka?
Yes, it really affects me. For example, the the genre is horror, and it really doesn't fail me to scare me. And I think that's also the difference between the genre and the genre of the show in Korea and here in the Philippines. And if you kapag sinabi mo kasi dito na horror, parang matatawa ka pa dahil dun sa mga ano, sa mga iba't ibang ano, tapos dun talaga sa kanila is pag horror talaga horror, and then pag pag romance kilig talaga, and then pag comedy matatawa ka talaga. Ayun.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So, let's go back to Patrick.
Okay, last part na to ng interview. So, first category, affective needs. Do you think K-drama is good? Hello?
Yes, okay.
Hello.
Okay na.
Do you
Okay
think
na.
K-drama is good for your emotional health?
For my emotional health, emotional health.
Like the way you control your emotions, how you manage your emotion, how you control it,
Ah,
ganun.
I think for me watching K-drama and controlling my emotion, and it doesn't really affect because every time every time there is a funny scene, I really laugh, and then if there is a crying scene, I really cry. It's not just that if there is crying scene in K-drama, I will laugh. I think I just go with the flow, and if it's time to cry, then I cry. Then if it's time to laugh, then I laugh.
Okay, alam ko natanong na to kanina, so you can just answer with yes or no. Does K-drama satisfy your emotions?
Yes, it satisfies my emotions.
Okay, Quiz Ian.
Okay, thank you for that. So, let's go to the part it's for your cognitive needs. So, it's all about mental health. What do you think about your mental health? Does it
I
satisfy
think
your mental health when you are watching K-drama?
yes, I think it satisfies me, and just like how it entertained me by watching it, it it's also satisfy my mental health because what I what I expect to see in that drama is is I nakikita ko rin dun sa drama na yun. So, nasa-satisfy naman ako.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So, yung part kasi dito, it's, ito yung mga needs mo, yung cognitive, sa emotions, parang
Ah,
basta yung parang masasatisfy yung, yung human being mo. So, the next part kay Patrick naman.
okay.
Ito naman yung social integrative needs. So, it's about social skills. Does K-drama help you strengthen your social interaction skills? Yung pakikipagkapwa-tao, napapatatag ba yun ng panonood ng K-drama, mga ganon. Pakikipagkaibigan.
Um, just like I told you before, I become extrovert by watching K-drama. So, parang, K-drama also affect me. Nahihiya na rin ako sa ibang tao kapag hindi ko kilala. Unless, they show sign na K-drama lover din sila. So, ayun, parang lumalakas yung loob ko na kausapin sila and then we share the same ideas, we share the same thoughts. Ayun, yun yung ano, parang yun yung nagde-drive sa akin para makipag-kaibigan sa isang tao. Ayun.
Okay, next category.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. So, yung sa ano naman, personal integrative needs. Ito yung sa self-esteem. Yun nga, nasabi mo nga na yung nagiging introvert ka dahil sa K-pop, mga K-fan, K-drama fan lang din yung sinasabihan mo. So, it does, naapektuhan ba yung self-esteem mo, especially dun sa mga ka-age group mo?
Self-esteem, yes, nadadagdagan kasi minsan ano, sa kakapanood ko ng K-drama, parang na-adapt ko na rin yung how they dress and then how they act. So, minsan ina-apply ko yun sa sarili ko and then I feel confidence kasi parang feeling ko gayang-gaya ko sila and then that also helped me kasi ano, hindi ako nahihiya kahit gawin ko yun, kahit hindi ko kilala yung ibang tao. Basta, ang alam ko sa sarili ko, itong suot ko na to, galing to sa K-drama na pinanood ko. So, ayun, every time na may gamit ako and then suot ko na, nakikita ko sa kakapanood ko na K-drama, kapag sinuot ko yun, parang tumataas yung confidence ko. Tapos, ayun, kapag suot ko yun.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So, for the last part, kay Patrick na.
Yes, this is the very last category. So, nasagot mo na yung question na to kanina. So, i-follow up na lang. Yung question is, does K-drama helps you relieve your stress? So, the follow-up question is, how does K-drama help you escape your problems in life?
Keep your
How does K-drama help you escape your problems in life?
yes, it really helps me because sometimes if there was a problem and then I think I can't handle and then all I'm gonna do is cry and then I don't have someone to lean on and then I just focus my attention in watching K drama. So by watching K drama I get too focused in watching the story and then I have wondered what will happen in next and then next and then the next and then the next. After that, parang nalilimutan ko na yung drama ko. Ay, yung mga problema ko. So parang sobrang focus ko na panonood ng K-drama. Parang doon na lang nagpo-focus yung attention ko.
Okay, the very last question, pinakahuling question. So 'di ba ang naitanong ko kung natutulungan ba ng K-drama na makatakas ka sa mga problema mo. This time, the question is, natutulungan ka ba ng K-drama mo na i-solve yung ilan sa mga problema mo sa buhay?
Wait lang, mag-iisip ako ng problema ko na pinagdaanan ko. I think probably yes, I think because if I'm going to think about it, there is no really major problem I have encountered in life. It's just like family problem. I think that's the major problem that I have encountered so far. So if watching K-drama, for example, there is parang may nagkagulo sa family namin, parang ayun, nag-away nga, tapos parang syempre parang ako maapektuhan din. And then if I'm going to watch K-drama and then parang doon ko na lang itutuon yung attention ko. Tapos parang pag natapos ko na yung K-drama, parang kumupo na yung war, parang nakalimutan na rin ang lahat. So far wala namang parang mga major problems na akong pinagdaanan na parang required ko talagang isolve. So, ayun.
Okay, thank you. Ayun na yung pinakahuling tanong. Hindi na namin itatanong yung additional questions kasi nasagot mo na rin. So, Sir Kian,
Ayan, excuse me. So, parang ito na lang yung outro, no? So, thank you, Myra, for cooperating with us. Don't worry, this interview is only for education purposes only. We will not reveal it to any other purposes aside from education. Kasi nga, ano nga to, para kay Sir Louis interview, di ba? So, thank you for that. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Sobrang laki ng tulong mo. Tsaka kasi,
thank you. Naka-record na rin eh. Okay. So, ayan, hi. Good evening. We are really thankful for your permission to cooperate in this interview. Let me first introduce ourselves. I am John Patrick Rizal and my partner here is Kian Vince Requentina. We are both students from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Taguig branch, under the course Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in English. So, the aim of this study is to know the reasons, what drives you to watch, to consume K-drama. It is guided by two theories. So, let me just give you a short description of the theories. The first theory is called cultural proximity theory. It says that the cultural offerings present in a media content must appeal to a person in order for him to like that media content. So bale, sinasabi lang dito na pag nanonood ng K-drama, hindi lang yung story ang nagugustuhan ng tao. Kasama na rin din yung culture ng bansa na nagbibigay nun. So the next theory is called the uses and gratification theory. It's just emphasizes that a person is actively choosing what media content to consume based on his needs. Pumipili ang tao ng gusto niyang panoorin base sa pangangailangan niya. So, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you're ready, let's call on my partner for the start of the interview.
Hello, Justin.
Hello there.
So, first of all, thank you for participating in our interview. Sobrang na-appreciate namin to. And for the first part, we will inquire first about your background knowledge about K-drama. So, for the first question, I just want to know how long have you been watching K-drama?
I think it is way back before, back when I was a child. I think it all started when I was on the third grade, when Voice Over Flowers is popular during that time, and I think that's how it all started. Since ABS-CBN network start airing dubbed movies of Korean dramas.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So, for the second question, what is your first impression about K-drama?
I think that to differentiate, to differ it from Filipino dramas, I think that in Korean dramas it focuses more into the visuals, or how the story is being presented, and however, in contrast, um, in Filipino dramas it focuses more into the emotions, or how it is, how the actors is going to portray or act that kind of intense emotions. And my first impressions of Korean dramas would be, it's actually great. The storylines are great, and I just love how they manage to like keep or make their movies appealing. And that's all.
So, thank you for that. For my last questions, I would like to know what or who influenced you to watch K-drama.
Actually, it is just based on my own, will, or the way I mean, it's just I just you know, it's part of my hobby, I guess. Like, there's no one who actually influenced me. It's just like based on my will.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. So for the first theory, it will be led by my partner Patrick.
Yes, thank you. So this first category is called the linguistic part. The first question for this is, what do you think about the Korean language?
I think that, as we all know, the Korean language is, I think it is derived from the Chinese language, right? And I think that, it's easier to write, yeah, because it's just, some basic, you know, lines or figures by writing the language. And, you know, it's just it's just quite like cool in a sense that the Korean language is way more easier than the Chinese language in terms of writing. And yeah, that's what I think about Korean language.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, for the next question, do you think there's any similarities with the Korean language and the Filipino language?
Hmm. I think that it's I think every language has its own, you know, um, linguistic writing. They have their own, like, different styles, different alphabets. So I think it is different, the way on how it pronounced. Like in the Philippines, it is, you know, pronounced as it is, and the Korean language, it is way more complex because, there is, like, a combination of like double S or AE in a letter, and I think it's way more complex than Filipino language.
Okay, okay. For the last question in this category, do you think you could learn Korean?
Mm, I think yes, I can learn Korean language since, like, Korean dramas are prominent across the world, and I, I know I'm exposed much to Korean dramas, and I think it's going to be easier because, whenever I try to watch Korean dramas, I, easily acquired or unconsciously learning the language, like, the common expression or basic, like aigu or so on and so forth. I think it's going to be easier to learn from now since I'm exposed to Korean dramas.
Okay, thank you very much. Let us now move on to the next category, Sir Kian.
Thank you, Patrick. So for the next category, that would be visual. So regarding visual, it talks about the geographical appearance of the South Korea itself and the face value of Korean actors and actresses. So for the first question, what do you think about South Korea?
Whenever I think about South Korea, I think it is more, they value their culture, they really value their history, and I think it all presented in the Korean dramas most of the time, like, Love for the Moonlight or Scarlet Heart Reread. They actually, you know, managed to put their cultures or history into Korean dramas. and you know, I get to expose much about the sceneries, the you know how how the cities are much different from the Philippines, and, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So, for the geographical features, do you think there are similarities between South Korea and Philippines?
In terms of movies or production,
No, I mean the Korea itself, their geographical features.
the um, since we're in in the middle of equator, I think it's quite different the sceneries because you know we're um we are in the middle of the equator and the sceneries are quite different since the seasons we only have sunny or rainy seasons, but while in Korea there are uh, winter and autumn, and I think that's how it differs.
Thank you for that. That's a wonderful answer. For my last question, I would like to talk about the face value of Korean actresses and Filipino actresses and or actors. So, what do you think is the similarities of their face value?
Or the way how they act, or what they mean.
I mean, their appearance itself, because
Clear.
we, all we know about South Korea,
Okay.
their appearance is so, their skin is so smooth and silky. They're cute, unlike you can see the difference between handsome and cute. Do you think, do you get what I'm saying? So just like that,
Yes.
do you think there are similarities between Korean
Um,
actors and Filipino actors?
I, I think that in the Philippines, we actually, since we've been colonized by the Americans, I think we somewhat, patronize or like the Western culture, and that's why we try to, in terms of our beauty standard, I think um, we actually, follow much Western culture. While in South Korea, they are more like mm, concerned or concerned much about their appearance or how did they like look, because in the Philippines it's okay to have a dark skin or any colors. It's just like in the Philippines it has their there's no much racism in terms of physical appearance, while in the South Korea, once there are a darker skin, they'll tend to like discriminate or that kind of person. And I think that the reason why they have their smooth or pretty face is because the plastic surgery in Korea is really prominent. Just like after they graduate high school, their parents um, you know give them a gift by undergoing in plastic surgery. And yeah, I think that's how it is.
Thank you for that answer. So for the next part, I will go to my partner Patrick.
Thank you, Kian. Quick follow-up question lang, Sir Justin. Do you think can you see yourself living in South Korea?
Yes, I am. In a sense that I want to be there in the future after I graduate. I wanted to like travel there together with my family, and I think yeah, I can see myself.
Okay, okay, thank you. We are now moving on to the third category. First question. What do you think about Korea's culture? I am referring to their foods and their clothes.
Mm, You know, in terms of their clothes, I think the 80s or hip hop culture is going back. I mean, like, that oversized shirts and something. And actually, it also influenced me. And in terms of their preferences, in terms of clothing, they prefer lighter or pastel colors. And that's what I also acquired. And in terms of their food, you know, ramen, that it's really popular across the Asia. And yeah, whenever I think about South Korea, I think about ramen, how delicious it is. And yeah, and they use this chopstick whenever they try to eat. And that's how it differs from the Philippines. We tend to use and fork.
All right, all right. Next question. Do you think there are any similarities with Korea's culture and the Filipino culture? Again, this is just referring to their foods and their clothes.
Difference between Filipino and Korean culture. That's I'm sorry.
No, I mean, sir. Hello. Can you hear me, sir? Hello. All right. Again, I was just asking if do you think there is any similarity similarity with Korea's culture and the Filipino culture?
Yes. In Asia, or we actually more holistic. We value our family, and that's how it is. Similar rather than in the Western culture. There are more. They focus more into the individual, and here in Asia, South Korea, and Philippines, we value family. We respect others as well. That's it.
Okay. Last question for this category. Do you think you can live or adapt with Korean's culture?
Mm, yes, that's what I'm saying. There is a term called Hallyu or Korean wave. It is where the Korean culture is becoming more popular across the world, and I think I can adapt to it in a sense that I am much exposed to Korean culture. I love K-pop, I love K-drama, I love anything about it, and I think I can adapt.
Okay, thank you. Let us now call on for my partner for the next category.
So thank you, Patrick. For the next category, it will be values. So my first question, what do you think about Korean values regarding their customs for respects?
What do you mean?
I
What do you
mean,
mean?
their custom someone respecting elderlies.
Um, I think the values here in the field, in a sense of like um, respecting elderly, like in a chain, like we tend to like you know prioritize those elderlies, those those who are disabled. I think that's how it is similar to in terms of our values.
Thank you for that answer. So for the second question, do you think there are similarities between Korea and Filipinos attitude?
Yes. Um, we so I think um, Filipinos are tend to discriminate. I think discriminate in the sense that, example, whenever the person is getting fat, then people will say like, oh, you're getting fat, fatter. And when someone is getting skinny, then they tend to um, discriminate it as well. And I think that's how it is similar in terms of the attitude in the Philippines.
Thank you for that answer. So for my last question regarding their values, do you think there are any similarities?
What do you mean by that?
As you can see, the attitude I'm referring is that this is the different environments that you can influence your attitude. So regarding in my value, in the value department, regarding the South Korea's values itself, not just by the region, but being a Korean, what is their value?
I think they the values of Korean and the Filipinos are somewhat like, you know, um, what they call this? Somewhat similar. Yes, in a sense that we have this cultures, I mean cultures and traditions and values. We tend to like, um, you know, we tend to what they call this, adapt or adapt more, and I think that's what it is.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So for the next part, it will be led by my partner Patrick.
Okay. We are now moving on to the second part of the interview. For the first category, the question is, do you think watching K-drama your knowledge of
I'm sorry.
hello,
Sorry.
am I audible? Naririnig po ba ako? Hello?
Okay.
Hello?
Please, can you please repeat your question? I can't hear it.
Okay. Okay. So the question is, K-drama to your knowledge of South Korea?
Sorry. Can you please repeat
Wait,
that? I can't hear you.
can can you please excuse me for a second? I will just try changing my earphones for better audio. Hello. Is this any better? Hello. Is this better? All right. Going back to the question. Do you think watching K-drama contributes to your knowledge of South Korea?
Yes, of course. That's what I'm saying is, um, I get to know more about their language by watching Korean drama. I getting to know more about their cultures, getting to know more about their traditions. I just get to learn more about their country just by watching Korean drama.
Okay, last question for this category. Do you think this new knowledges, this new information that you get from K-drama contributes to why you love K-drama?
Mm, sorry, there's a chain that real fast. Okay.
It's okay, it's okay. It's okay, it's okay.
Okay. Um, wait, sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Oh wait, as I was saying, wait. So, the new information, as you were saying, you are learning new things by watching K-drama, right? So, do you think this learning, this new informations you get from K-drama contributes to why you love watching K-drama?
Yes, actually, you know, all the knowledges that I've learned through watching K-dramas, um, exposed me much about about their country, and I easily getting more fonder. I mean, I get it, getting fonder in terms of their culture, and I easily getting, I'm liking their culture just because of watching Korean dramas. And I think that the knowledge that I've learned through watching K drama contributes why I love K drama.
Okay, thank you. Sir Kian?
Thank you, Patrick. So regarding this part, uh, regarding this part, it will be tackled connected to your personal identity. So for the first question, how do you think watching K-drama affects your identity?
Identity, okay. I think that Korean dramas, I mean, like in Korea culture, people are, they don't want to be more like muscular in men. They somewhat like hate it, and they way more um they tend to like follow the pattern. I mean, pattern of being skinny, and it's one of how the Korean dramas affects my identity.
Thank you for that answer. For the second question, are there any Korean actors or actresses that you idolize that greatly affects your identity?
Mm, I think um, Taeun or IU in the Scarlet Heart Rio, and I get to like the way how they think, the way on how they, I mean, like their preferences in that movie actually affects my identity as well. I tend to like follow how they look, or how they act or behave, and that's it.
Okay, for my last question, is there any character in a certain K-drama that greatly affects your identity?
Mm, there's nothing much, but I think that I think it's the person from you know the K drama called Live Up to Your Name. There's a girl who is a doctor, and she tries to like you know manage to save others, save uh, people, saving lives, and it really affects me as a person in a sense that you should try to you know respect or value other people's life because they are also important.
Thank you for that answer. So for the next part, let's go to my partner Patrick.
Yes, thank you, Sir Kian. Last category for this, the the not yet last pala, third pa lang pala. So, does K-drama have any effects on your relationships, be it with your friend or with your family?
Um, watching Korean dramas affects my relationship. Yeah, because I tend to like, watch Korean dramas alone, like isolated in a room, and try to like I mean like um I avoid much like interaction, and that really affects my relationship towards others. Sometimes I cannot like chat them or talk to them immediately just because I am busy watching Korean dramas, and it deeply affects.
Okay, okay. Next question. Do you have a peer group or group of friends that is formed solely because of K-drama?
Yes, this current group, we have Myra and Aya. I think we just have the same like interest to each other. That's why, in terms of watching Korean dramas, that's why I think we get to get closer to each other, and that's it.
Okay, Sir Kian.
Thank you, Patrick. So for my question, simple question lang. Excuse me. Does K-drama entertain you?
Yes, of course. K drama serves as my stressful reliever in a sense that in a stressful week, just like today. Yeah, I I tend to like watch Korean dramas in just a different genre, like Sweet Home on Netflix. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet, but it's really amazing. It serves as my stress reliever, and just to make fun a bit. And
Thank you for that answer. So for the next question, does it let you feel what you're supposed to feel? It's regarding about the genre.
pardon,
Does it
pardon,
let
please.
you does it let you feel what you're supposed to feel? Example for Korean Korean drama that have romance. Does it let affects
Um,
your
actually, watching Korean dramas actually evokes our emotions and feelings, just like reading a book. It actually evokes our feelings. We tend to like laugh, we tend to smile, we tend to cry, and yeah, that's how it is.
Thank you for that answer. So for the last theory, we will talk about your needs. So for the first part, will be led by my partner Patrick.
So, okay, okay. We are near the end of this interview. The first question for your affected needs. Does do you think K-drama is good for your mental health? I, no, sorry, I mean emotional health. The way you control your emotion, you regulate your emotion. That's what I mean.
How, can you please repeat your question?
All right. Wait, wait. Is this? Can you hear me? Hello. Okay, okay. So the question is, do you think K-drama is good for your emotional health? I mean, like the way you control your emotion, the way you regulate it. That's the question.
I think that Korean dramas is actually good in my emotional health, because in Korean dramas it evokes my the feeling of love, the feeling of sadness, the feeling of tragedy. It actually deeply affects my emotional state.
So, wait. I guess that's all right. Next na tayong category. Can you hear me, sir? Okay, okay.
Yes.
While Ken is reconnecting, I will continue the interview. Okay. Do you think K-drama is good for your mental health? The last time was emotional health. This time is your mental health.
I think that Korean dramas is, you know, is not is not good in my mental health, in a sense that, we should um our mental health is supposed to be like, in a real world, in a sense that um
So, okay, going. Can we
as what
start again now?
I'm saying is we should look for what is happening in our world right now. I mean, like, it's just a movie. It can, it has, laughters, love, sadness, but we should not be like deeply affected to their emotions. Like, we tend to cry just because someone dies. It's just like, it's just movies are fictional. They aren't real, so we should not be like, um, deeply affected to their emotions.
Okay. Next question. Do you think K-drama strengthens your social skills?
Um, Maybe, um, because in because watching Korean dramas tend to like, you know, isolate me in a room. Like, it tends to like, um, I mean, I tend to watch Korean dramas like the whole day, and sometimes it actually helps me to build my social skills to others as well. Like, in a story, there are in Korean drama stories, it shows how you can build up your relationship towards others, and yeah.
How about you? Do you think K-drama contributes to your self-esteem?
Myself, in terms of my self-esteem, I think it doesn't really, contribute to self-esteem, in a sense that actually lowers it. It lowers my self-esteem, to be honest, in a sense that, in Korean dramas, Korean actors portrays more like, visually appealing appearances, and I'm also tend to like follow their uh their behavior towards that. So I tend to like, get insecure much about my physical appearance. I tend to like, use makeup just like how the boys do in the Korean dramas, and yeah, it actually lowers my confidence.
Okay, thank you for that. We are now only have two last questions. So, you already say that K-drama relieves your stress, right? So here's the question. Does watching K-drama help you escape your problems in life?
Mm, yes. Actually, it's the same on how you read a book. Actually, in a sense that, like, in reading a book, the author tries to feel what you feel, and it it's the same on the movie. It tends to like helps you feel based on how they wanted you uh to feel, and I think that, yeah, it evokes the feelings that's why it helps me to escape to the problems in life, like um, by watching Korean dramas. There, for example, there are happy scenes, or like, just makes me happy as well. So that's it.
Okay, this is the very last question for this interview. I asked you if K-drama helps you escape your problems. This time, does K-drama helps you solve some of your problems?
Mm, it doesn't really actually solve any problems, like, just by watching Korean dramas, because Korean dramas to- are means to like entertain us, not to like solve problems. Korean dramas are there to like educate, um, inform, or you know show some entertainment, and it doesn't really solve any case of problems.
Okay, sorry for this. I just have one additional question. What do you think could be improved with our local dramas? What do you think could be improved from our local dramas?
Mm, I think that mm, we should, in terms of the production, I think that we should try to like, you know, put much efforts in terms of production, storylines, because in the Philippines, you can't like really tell that it is real, because the the visuals or the productions is not, it doesn't even look real though. And I think that we should focus more into the production, storylines, because in Korea, um, the prominent genre is, romantic genres, and in the Philippines, it's all about like action movies, killing, and it doesn't really, you know, doesn't even good. So we should improve the in terms of the storylines.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of my partner, we are really thank you for your time and cooperation. I hope you enjoyed this interview on your part. That would be the end of this interview. Thank you again, sir. Hi. Good morning. We are really thankful for your permission to cooperate in this interview. So, let me first introduce ourselves. I'm John Patrick Rosal, and my partner here is Kian Vince Requentina. So, this interview aims to know what drives you to watch K-drama under two theories. So, there are two theories. The first theory is about cultural proximity theory, and the second one is uses and gratification theory. So, we wouldn't have to worry about those technical terms. Let us just go directly to the interview proper. Let us call on my partner, Sirki and Vince Cantina.
Hello, sir. So first of all, thank you for participating in our interview. In the first part of our interview, I would like to inquire your knowledge about K-drama. So first question, how long have you been watching K-drama?
No, please. May tumatawag sa akin. Nagdalag. Naririnig mo ako? Hello, hello, hello. Naririnig ako?
Sir, naririnig ka, sir.
Doon po yung tanong kasi medyo naglalag po kasi.
Um, First question po is, how long have you been watching K-drama?
Almost 4 hours to 6 hours, ganun.
So second question is, what influenced you or who influenced you to watch K-drama?
My mother.
Okay, sir, for the next theory, it will be led by my partner Patrick.
Okay, sir. Thank you for those answers. I just have a follow-up question. Dun sa how long have you been watching K-drama? We mean since what year have you started watching K-drama? Anong taon po nag-start yung panonood ng K-drama?
Medyo naglag ka, nag-spike.
Okay, sir. Anong taon ka po
Medyo naglag
nagsimula
ka.
ng panonood ng K-drama? What year?
Okay. 2014.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question. So for the first category in the first theory, what do you think about the Korean language? Yung paraan nila ng pagsalita, ganun mismo.
Ano naman, medyo slang. Pero naiintindihan bilang tourism student.
Oh, okay. Oh, also about that pala, can we just ask for your age and your school? How old are you, sir?
I'm 20 years old. I'm from PCC, Parañaque City College.
Tourism course, right?
Tourism course.
Okay, thank you for that. Also, next question would be, do you think there's any similarities with the Korean language and the Filipino language?
Um, None, kasi pwede ba Tagalog dito? Medyo
Sure, sure,
okay lang ba
sure.
itong Tagalog?
Yes, yes.
Ayun, medyo malayo, pero the history naman kasi, yung history pa naman natin siguro, meron silang agwatan, pero this naman, itong panahon natin medyo malayo-layo na. Pero ayun, dahil sa mga K-popers gano'n, yung mga mahilig matuto ng language ng Korean, mas napag-aaralan na natin siya. Kung sa Filipino language, mas nai-enhance na natin yung Korean language ngayon.
Okay, thank you. How about you, sir? Do you think you could learn to speak Korean?
Yes naman, because I'm tourism student. So meron din kaming ganyan na language na
Okay, thank you
pag-aaralan.
very much. Next category, Sir Kian.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. So for the second cultural offerings, it would be visual. Visual means the geographical features of South Korea, its beauty itself. So first question, what do you think about South Korea?
South Korea is a religious country. And also marami po silang heritage and cultural na medyo sila lang yung yung parang unique ganun sa tourism industry syempre. Ganun 'yun. Isa sila sa mga religious country talaga. Saka marami silang lumang struktura. Lalo na ngayon sikat. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So in terms naman po ng geographical features, do you think there are any similarities between South Korea and Philippines?
Um, medyo may konti kasi ang mga Pilipino naman cultural din naman sila. Mahilig sila meron silang mga pina-practice like us pero medyo alam mo yun, medyo mas mahal nila yung kultura. As in talaga mataas yung nila, tingin nila sa culture nila. Kaya hindi hanggang ngayon may practices pa rin sila kahit nasa new generation na sila. Yun lang.
Okay, so for the third question, it's about the face value. Ito yung itsura ng appearance ng actor and actresses kasi malaking importance din yun sa K-drama. So what do you think about their face value?
Is value. Medyo pagdating kasi sa theater, isa sila sa alam niyo yun, yung parang nakaka-attract panoorin kasi o more on kasi sila romantic yung mga gusto nilang ano, so iyakan. So talagang facial expression talaga yung labanan. Ayan. Medyo ano ako dun, parang kung ba sa excellent, medyo mataas-taas. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you for that answer. So for my last question, if ever, would you like somehow to live in South Korea?
Maybe, kasi medyo maganda naman yung buhay nila dun and mababa yung risk ng ano nila dun ng kung dun ka titira mababa yung ano ba yun, life basta mababa yung parang ano nila, ano tawag dito sa ano na 'to, sa terms na 'to, mababa yung pamumuhay yung ano, yung parang tax nila dun yung parang gano'n, yung pamumuhay nila. Kaysa dito sa ano, mas mataas pa nga yung Pilipinas kung tutuusin, eh. Ayun, so kung maybe kung papalarin tayo pumunta dun, so yun.
Okay, thank you for that. So for the next part, let's go to my partner Patrick.
Sige.
Thank you, Sir Kian. For the next question, what do you think about Korea's culture? When I say culture, I am talking about their food and their clothes.
Hmm. Um, medyo kung sa Pilipino talaga maibabase, yung culture nila medyo ano kasi practices talaga nila yung lagi. As in kapag umidad ka, kagaya ng military, 'di ba hanggang ngayon kailangan nilang mag-military, eh, culture din yun, eh. So sa foods naman, kung sa foods and clothes nila, ano, practices nila bumili talaga ng mga kimono, yun yung mga ganyang damit ano nila yan, eh, parang culture na talaga nila na kailangan meron kang ganyan kasi sa kasal ginagamit yan siyempre, lalo na mga Korea. Tapos yung foods nila, yun din almost meron silang mga ano, kagaya ng tofu, yung mga gano'n, yung mga bibimbap, yung mga alam mo yung mga lagi nilang kinakain almost parang nakakasanayan nila na kahit na nagkalakihan nila, so pinapasa-pasa nila hanggang ngayon, almost yung practices na yun, gano'n pa rin hindi kagaya sa'tin ngayon, nagbago-bago na, nag-iba-iba na, 'di ba? Yun lang masasabi ko sa kanila, culture nila.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Next question would be, do you think you can live or adapt with Korea's culture? Tingin mo ba kaya tawag dito? Makakapag-adapt with Korea's culture?
Um, ang Pilipino,
Ah,
na
yes.
so siyempre
Pwede rin
yung
ikaw po
mga
personally.
sa personal, oo naman kasi siyempre tayo kasi ngayon globally competitive na tayong lahat, eh. So need natin mag-adjust talaga. Need natin mas matutunan pa yung ibang culture lalo na ngayon ako tourism ako. So need kong pag-aralan kahit hindi ko talaga sila kailangan talaga pag-aralan. Kasi dun sa work ko, ganon talaga dun din ako pupunta. So bilang bilang ano tourism student mas prepare po talaga namin matuto ng culture nila, kung ano yung practices sila sa nila, para 'pag nag-tour na kami dun tapos mga client namin sila, so mas madali namin ma-explain. So yun lang.
Okay, next.
Thank you, Patrick. So for the last culture offerings, it would be values. So first question, do you think there's any similarity with Koreans and Filipino behavior?
Sa behavior naman medyo kasi ano, eh, ang Pilipino kasi pagdating sa ganyan, kanya-kanya kasi yung behavior, eh, 'di ba? Sa pamilya, sa kanila kasi, sa Korea kasi, may behavior sila na kumbaga hindi sila nagpaparami ng pamilya. Sa atin kasi iba't iba, eh, merong American behavior, parang gano'n, yung parang one child policy, two child policy, yung iba naman marami, 'di ba? So, yun yung behavior nila kasi sa pamilya, sa sarili nila is na-adapt nila talaga yung parang old culture nila. Hindi kagaya ng Pilipino na salo-salo na kasi 'di ba sa dami rin ng sumakop sa atin simula nung ano hanggang ngayon. So, yun parang hanggang ngayon yung practices natin parang iba't iba bawat pamilya. So, mas prefer ko talaga yung behavior nung culture nila kasi hanggang ngayon pina-practice pa rin nila. Kagaya ng ngayon, child policy na yata sila ngayon. Yun lang alam ko, child policy na sila ngayon, one child policy na sila ngayon. Kasi para sa business at saka kasi malapit na sila sa nation nila, ayun talaga yung policy ng buong nation nila, eh, yung mga karating nilang bansa. So, sasabay sila dun kasi globally competitive na yung bansa na yun. So, ayun lang.
Thank you for that answer. So for the second question, what do you think about Korean values? I mean, yung showing respect nila. How about that?
Hmm, yung ano naman, medyo okey naman din. Medyo ano rin nila, respectable din naman sila. Pero pagdating sa ibang bansa, siyempre alam naman yung mga Korea dito sa Pilipinas medyo medyo alam mo yun, parang di tayo nirerespeto. Pero in terms sa kanila naman, kung nasa culture naman nila tayo ngayon, kung nandun tayo sa ano nila, respetuhin naman tayo. Parang kagaya lang din ng mga Pilipino. Pero mas mas more on Filipino pa rin talaga yung mas more respectable, yun lang. Pero kung sa ano tutusin yung behavior nila hindi naman nalalayo sa'tin. May some lang konting kagaya sa'tin, yun lang.
Okay. So for my last question, do you think there's any similarities with Koreans and Filipino values?
Hmm, in some way, kung tutusin meron pero mas mataas talaga yung ano, eh, values ng Pilipino, eh, kaysa sa kanila. Kasi yung values ng Pilipino, ano tayo, hospitality tayo, eh. Siyempre masyado tayong alam niyo yun, respectable kahit hindi natin kilala, kinakausap natin, 'di ba? Hindi kagaya sa kanila kasi almost 'di mo naman lahat ng tao dun ano, eh, 'pag nakausap mo dun 'di naman lahat sasagot, 'di ba? Kahit tayo dito sa Pilipino ano, kapag nagtanong ka na diyan sa kanto, 'di ba, sasagutin ka, "Ay dito 'yun." Oh. Eh, dun sa kanila almost gano'n, eh, parang talagang alam mo 'yun, naranasan ko na yan, eh, kaso ayun, way back talaga. Pero okey lang 'yun, medyo mas mataas pa talaga yung ano, respect at behavior ng Pilipino kaysa sa kanila. Hindi ako agree dun sa magkapareho sila ng behavior, 'yan.
Okay, thank you for the answers. So for the next theory, let's go to my partner, Patrick.
Thank you very much for those wonderful questions. We are now moving on to the next part of the interview, sir. Okay, for the first category, here is the first question. Does watching K-drama contribute to your knowledge of South Korea?
Yes, in some way kasi. Lalo na yung ano, yung pagsasalita nila tapos meron subtitle sa baba, so naiintindihan mo na rin kung ano yung sinasabi nila in some way. So yun, naa-adapt mo na rin yung culture din nila dun sa video, sa palabas na napapanood mo. Yun lang.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Ito bang mga bago mong natutunan, these new informations na nakukuha mo from K-drama contributes kung bakit mahal mo ang K-drama?
Hmm, oo, in some way kasi almost kasi 'pag nanonood kasi ako, yun talaga yung parang gusto kong malaman din, eh, yung language din nila, yung culture din nila. So yun, marami rin akong natututunan.
Okay, okay. Sir Kian, next.
Thank you, Patrick. So for my question, how do you think watching K-drama affects your identity?
Hmm. Wala naman kasi ano ako, eh, balance kasi akong tao, eh. So, puwede rin naman ako manood ng American movie, mga gano'n. So, wala naman para sa'kin ano lang learning lang talaga siya, natututunan ko lang siya, naa-adapt ko lang din siya, pero hindi yung almost talaga na nababago yung sarili ko, yun lang. So, balance pa rin ako.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So how about any Korean actors or actresses that you idolizes that has great influence in you?
Puwedeng hindi idolize, puwedeng kilala lang kasi hindi ako mahilig talaga mag-idolize ng tao, kasi wala akong idol, eh, talaga. So, ano lang sila Lee Dong-wook, mga gano'n. sila Park Bogum, marami naman kasi tsaka sila Lee Jung Suk, mga ganyan. Yan yung mga gustong pinapanood almost sila.
Okay, thank you. So for my last question, how about a character in a K-drama that affects you?
Character, hmm, si yung sa Legend of the Blue Sea. Yan. Tsaka sa Goblin, dalawa sila eh. Si Goblin, kalimutan ko kasi pangalan niya dun eh. Pero medyo kasi tagal na rin kasi ako hindi nanonood niya. So pero kung may time, manonood din ako. Ayan.
Then thank you for your answer. So let's go to my partner Patrick.
Before moving on there, clarification lang. In what way does this character influence you in your personality, like in your way of speaking? How does he influence you? In what way? Yung Goblin,
ano,
yung Goblin.
Goblin, almost kasi nakaka-influence siya sa being first professionally kasi medyo professional kasi yung galawan dun eh. As in talaga
Okay.
naman nakikita mo naman. So yun, parang na-adapt ko rin yung pagiging professional.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question. Does K-drama have effects in your relationship? It could be good or could be bad. Does it have any effects in your relationships, friends or families?
In some way naman kasi minsan nagkakaroon ka ng idea eh. Kasi 'di ba minsan yung problem dun sa pinapanood mo na ano mo siya na parang nai-encounter mo siya sa kaibigan mo. So nakaka-relate din in some way din pero hindi naman almost. Ayun.
How about, do you have any peer group? Meron ka bang grupo ng kaibigan na nabuo just because of K-drama?
Ay wala naman, wala eh. Medyo kasi balance lang. Ayun.
Okay, thank you for that. Next category, Sir Kian.
Okay, thank you Patrick. So this is the last category, entertainment. So first question, simple lang. Does K-drama entertain you?
Yes, siyempre. Nakakawala siya ng pagod kapag nanonood ka ng K-drama. Entertainment talaga.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So last question. Does it let you feel what you're supposed to feel? I'm regarding to genre. Example, comedy, napapatawa ka. Ganun ba?
Yes naman, yes. Wala naman taong hindi. Diba? Yun.
Okay, thank you. So for the next part, let's go to my partner Patrick.
Okay, we are now near the end of this interview. For the next question is, do you think K-drama is good for your emotional health?
Kasi dati kasi nanonood ako, kahit may sakit ako, nanonood ako eh. Alam mo yun, parang nakakawala talaga siya ng problem lalo, sobra. As in, parang parang dinadala ka sa other dimension. Parang, yun lang.
Okay, thank you for that.
How about mental health? Does it contributes to your mental health?
Mental health. Psychological ba?
Yes.
Siyempre, kasi pinapanood mo siya, nagkakaroon ka ng idea. Ay, ganun pala. Yung parang, alam niyo yun, yung parang, ayun, yung sa mental health talaga, as in parang nagkakaroon ka ng creative mind na next, kung ito pala, pwede pala natin itong gawin. Yung ganun. So, nakaka-contribute talaga siya sa mental health talaga. Wow. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So next, Patrick.
Do you think K-drama strengthens your social skills, yung pakikipagkapwa-tao mo?
Yes. Sometimes. Parang kasi dun na tututunan mo talaga. Kasi sila, 'di ba, almost magkaibigan, yung 'di ba? Alam mo yung magkaibigan, magjowa. So yun, intindihan mas na ano ka. Yun
Okay,
lang.
next category, Sir Kian.
Okay, thank you. So does K-drama boost your self-esteem?
Sometimes kasi hindi naman almost sometimes. Sometimes, yun lang, sometimes lang. Yun ang sagot ko, sometimes. Pwede mo mag-ano? Yun na yun.
Okay lang. So for the next part na si Patrick na.
Okay, this is the last category for this interview. You already said that K-drama relieves you with stress, right? How about boredom? Does K-drama help you relieve boredom?
Oo, nakaka-release siya ng ng boredoms. Sobra. Para talaga nakakapag-relax ka. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Next question is, does K-drama helps you escape your problems in life?
Kasi entertainment siya, 'di ba? So talaga nakakawala talaga siya ng problem.
Okay. Follow up for that. How about the last question is about if it helps you escape, 'di ba? Na tinutulungan kang makatakas sa problema. But this time the question is, does it help you to solve some of your problems?
In some way naman kasi yun nga kasi sa K-drama kasi idea, creativeness kasi masyado eh. So lalo na kapag yung mga pinapanood mo is ang genre is fantasy. So ayun, nakakaroon ka ng parang idea na, ay puwede pala maging ganito sa future, parang gano'n. So nakaka-solve din siya ng problem. Kunwari sa'yo kung nakaka-relate ka dun tapos parang pareho kayo ng nangyari ngayong araw, parang gano'n kinabukasan, ay parang ganito magiging ko, eh. So yung problem mo mas nakikita mo yung yung parang resulta sa problem mo, yun.
Okay, thank you very much. Just one additional question from my partner, Kian.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. So this is the last question in our interview. Can you give some advice to our local drama to improve so para mas gustuhan mo?
Um, Hindi to kasi more on kasi 'di ba Viva Film tayo, eh. Dun talaga papasok lahat yung Viva Film. So, kung i-improve nila quality, good naman yung quality. Pero kasi mas ina-emphasize kasi nila yung problema sa politics, eh. So, mas gusto ko mas maganda kung ini-emphasize nila yung culture natin, alam mo yon sila Lapu-Lapu, yung mga gano'n. Kasi wala na kasi talaga ngayon yun as in. Sa tourism namin yun na pinag-aaralan namin almost. Wala na kasi yung almost na feel ng nila Lapu-Lapu, nila Magellan, nila yung mga old na nangyari. Almost kasi yung nangyayari ngayon yung mas pinipil nila. So, mas maganda talaga doon bilang kagaya sa Korea, culture nila yung pina-practice nila sa K-drama kaya more on nakikita natin parang nire-recall. So, kung dito dapat yun din yung sana yung gawin nilang film, yung cultural natin, kung saan tayo nagsimula. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you, Sir Joshua. So that concludes our interview. We would like to thank you, sir, for cooperating with us. We appreciate we appreciate it, and don't worry, this interview will be used only for education purposes.
Yes.
Huwag kang mag-alala, dito lalabas kahit saan sa
Informatic
project.
yun.
Yes, thank you very much, sir.